Hello and welcome to Compass Global Markets Weekly Update. I'm Tony Boyajian. Well, the big news over the past week has been the sterling pound, which has lifted to its highest level since post-Brexit. It's gained 3% in the past week. It's trading at fresh 15-month highs following some hawkish Bank of England comments about raising UK interest rates in the coming months. Now, what we've seen is faster UK inflation has enticed the Bank of England to consider unwinding that emergency rate cut they implemented last June when they cut interest rates by 0.25%. During the last Brexit referendum. The market is pricing a 72% chance that interest rates will rise by 25 basis points by the end of this year. Meanwhile, the sterling pound is expected to strengthen further this week as UK Prime Minister Theresa May signals a potential compromise to the EU-UK Brexit talks in her keynote presentation this Friday. We've seen the US dollar initially rise on the better than expected inflation data when CPI printed at 1.9% for the August year-on-year figures, but retraced lower on the back of some poor US retail sales and industrial production numbers. August retail sales fell 0.2% and industrial production fell almost 1%, and the market was forecasting a rise in both of those sectors. The market currently awaits details of the balance sheet reduction and tax reform plans in the US, so watch this space for further developments there. Elsewhere, the massive economic cost of Hurricanes Harvey and Irma has been estimated at $290 billion, or 1.5% of US GDP. Meanwhile, another hurricane, Maria, is intensifying around the Caribbean region with a Category 5 storm bearing down on that area. It's the 7th hurricane in the Atlantic this season. Now, this could lower US GDP forecasts and also further weaken the US dollar as interest rate rise expectations tend to wither away. The safe haven assets like gold, Japanese yen and Swiss francs have not received the amount of support that you would expect in the geopolitical environment and given the recent bombings on the London subway. However, we have seen the yen strengthen by 2% against the US dollar over the past week on a report that Japan's Prime Minister Abe may be calling a snap election with a probable vote by the end of October this year. Now, there are two key central bank meetings happening this week. On Thursday, the US Federal Reserve and the Japanese Bank of Japan Central Bank both will be meeting, so look for some intraday market volatility if any announcements come from those particular meetings. Eurozone CPI remains around that forecast level of 1.5%. That was the outcome for the month of August. We expect Euro to remain confined in the 118-120 range against the US dollar, especially given the German elections happening this weekend. The Aussie dollar remains range bound between 79 and 80 US cents. It's been well supported by some stellar jobs reports. We saw 54,000 jobs created in the month of August, and the unemployment rate is stable around 5.6%. Now, the RBA meetings were released today at 11:30 a.m. Now, the key points to take out of it is that the official interest rates have remained unchanged at record lows of 1.5%. They are cautious about the high household debt in a low inflation environment, and it looks like they're concerned about a higher Aussie dollar dragging down economic growth. So the RBA has actually made a comment about weaker commodity prices, especially in iron ore, as Chinese steel production peaks. Effectively, they want to see a lower Australian dollar, hence the reason why the Australian dollar remains below 80 US cents today. And finally, in New Zealand on Saturday, an election takes place, the general election. The current polls indicate the National Party, the ruling National Party, has a slight lead, 42% over 40% against the opposition Labor Party. We expect the New Zealand dollar to weaken further as we head into the weekend, so perhaps a great opportunity for people looking to buy New Zealand dollars. Aussie Kiwi could actually escalate back up towards that 111, 112 region. Thanks for watching Compass Global Markets. I'm Tony Boyajian.